Welcome to the latest of this series of videos on revision for Christianity and the AQA GCSE for Religious Studies. This episode focuses on the problem of evil. Christians believe in the Holy Trinity. They believe God is all powerful and all loving. They believe that God created the universe and that the universe reveals God's nature to them. However, that causes a problem, and that problem is that evil and suffering appears to exist. As Epicurus, an ancient Greek philosopher, phrased it, is God willing to prevent evil but not able? Then he's not omnipotent. Is he able but not willing? Then he's malevolent. Is he both able and willing? Then how come evil exists? If he's neither able nor willing, then why call him God? A simple presentation of this problem for Christians is Mackey's inconsistent triad. He argues that all points on the triangle can't be true at the same time, only two of them. For Mackey, if evil exists, God cannot be either all-powerful or all-loving. This problem is posed to Christians and they need to respond to it. A response to the problem of evil is called a theodicy. Christians have two ancient responses, that of Augustine and of Irenaeus. Starting with St. Augustine's theodicy, he initially states that there is no problem of evil simply because evil doesn't exist. It's a word we use to describe the absence of good. Just like we describe the dark, but darkness doesn't exist, it's better understood as the absence of light. Many philosophers and theologians define evil into two categories, moral and natural. Moral evil is that created by human actions, for example, lying and stealing. Natural evil is part of the functioning of the universe, for example, landslides or earthquakes. St. Augustine has a response for why both types seem to exist. He believes that it is all the fault of Adam and Eve. They were given free will, and they could have chosen to obey God, but they betrayed God instead. As a punishment, God cursed the world. This explains why natural evil exists. The world is fallen. All humans, since Adam and Eve, also have free will. That's why they can still lie and steal. All humans since Adam and Eve live in a fallen world, full of natural evil. In this explanation, evil is not God's fault, but the fault of humans. The world might be fallen now. However, the crucifixion, death, resurrection, and ascension of Jesus have redeemed humans. They can now go back to the Garden of Eden, back to paradise when they die. All Christians have to do is follow Jesus. And for St. Augustine, that justified the experiences that we have here. God will make it right in the afterlife. Irenaeus, though, has a very different answer to the problem of evil. He doesn't think evil or suffering is a fault in the system that was created by human wickedness. Instead, he thinks it was all part of God's plan. Pain and suffering is necessary for growth, character development, and to become more God-like. His view can be summarized as no pain, no gain. To give an example, is it a good idea to keep all pain and suffering away from children? Will this help them to grow up into better or worse people? Rugby is a painful, scary game. To succeed at rugby, you need to be able to take orders, be brave and cope with pain and injury. It was invented at Rugby School, an exclusive and very expensive boarding school in England. Currently, fees are £55,000 per year to attend rugby school. And yet, parents send their children to that school and want their children to play rugby. Why would they risk their children's health and their investment by having them play rugby? Irenaeus believes that rugby will actually help them to grow into better people, that experiencing pain and suffering allows all of us to show kindness, love, compassion, and bravery. These experiences help us to grow and develop and bring us closer to God. The counter-argument to St. Irenaeus' theodicy is that while some pain is educational, too much is simply destructive. As John K. Roth stated, no theodicy can cope with the sheer amount and intensity of both moral and natural evil. The most powerful example is the tragedy of the Holocaust. Surely nothing can be learned from the Holocaust that was worth the price of the lesson. A final riposte to theodicies, and in particular to St. Augustine's, is that his view relies heavily on the original sin of Adam and Eve, and this is an unconvincing explanation for people outside of the Christian tradition who believe that evolutionary theory shows that this story is more of a myth than a historical event. It's also challenging to those Christians who similarly view the Adam and Eve creation story as mythological in nature rather than historical or scientific. If there's no Adam and Eve, there's no original sin, and there is no explanation for natural and moral evil.